Welcome to our channel, Always Keep Moving. We are Anna and Kelvin. 11 months ago we quit our jobs in Sweden and started our around the world trip. We've been to almost 25 countries. We started in Latin America, then Southern Africa, then the Middle East, then into Southeast Asia. After Southeast Asia we went to Taiwan. Now I used to live here many years ago, so it was great to see the old sights, meet old friends and show Anna where I used to live and where I used to work. From there we went to Nepal and had a great time trekking in the Himalaya, and then after that we had a great 5 weeks travelling through India. Now our very last country, we are in England, in Manchester, seeing the family before we go back to Sweden. If you haven't already, don't forget to like and subscribe. Okay, we are back in Scandinavia at Copenhagen Airport. Hence the Copenhagen brand, the Danish brands. Okay, we've got to find through. We're section B. And we're following the arrows, and hopefully we've got 15 minutes. We're hoping to get there then. Alright, yep, let's keep powering ahead. So it looks like we made it. All we hope for is our bags made it as well. So our very last flight of the trip isn't a copy of the very first flight of the trip. Alright, we see when we get there.
What a strange and surreal feeling after having been out traveling in the faraway world for just over a little bit over 11 months. I think it's 11 months and 2 weeks. We are now on our last flight back from Copenhagen to Gothenburg, where my mother will be meeting us to drive us back to our hometown, Jönköping. I mean, in one way it feels great to come back home again to see our family and friends, and in another way we've just had the most amazing year traveling around the world, seeing so many great sights everywhere. So yeah, it's going to take some time before we get back into to normal reality and everyday life again, but it is what it is. We just have to power through.
Alright, we finally landed, just taxi into the gate, and then we descend. So this is it, back in Sweden after a year. Well, actually 11 months and 2 weeks, so okay. Here just arrived Gothenburg Airport and we're on our way to collect our luggage, then go through, see Anna's mum, and head back to our town, back to Jönköping. Yeah. So all our baggage has come, so that's a good start. We was panicking a bit, but we eventually got it, and now we're walking through, and hopefully we'll see Marianne, Anna's mum. Yeah. It feels so surreal. It just feels like we were sort of here last week. We've just been on a little holiday. And okay, so here we go. Hopefully she won't be. She is. And she's got the same idea. She's filming as well. Go on, give your mum a hug, man. Yeah. Yeah.
So after an emotional reunion with my mom after almost a year and a quick catch up at the airport, we start driving back to our hometown, Jönköping. It is about just a little bit over probably 1 hour 10 or 1.5 hour drive from Landvetter Airport in Gothenburg to our hometown. Here we are, we're getting close to our old neighborhood. We're actually going to mom and dad's apartment in Jönköping town. We are living about 20 minutes outside of town, but because we don't have a car yet, we are going to stay in their apartment now until we have bought our own car. In the evening, we drove up to my sister's house to have a reunion also with my sister, her husband Marcus, and their two kids, Ellen and Anton. And also, we had a visit from Kelvin's daughter Signe. What a beautiful family reunion today. A very emotional day.
So it's our first morning back in Sweden, and we are having our first breakfast. We're staying at Marianne and Shell's place. So we've done like the traditional Swedish breakfast with a fralla, i.e. a sandwich, eggs, yogurt with a bit of fruit and granola, and then I'll brew some coffee up after this and have that. So yeah, happy days. Yeah, it's good to be back again. This is where we'll be staying for a day or two. Well, we'll probably stay the weekend and then we'll head back to the house and that. We're relying on people to give us lifts, so it depends on what their schedule is. And then we're dependent then on how long it takes to get a car, basically. So if we get a car quickly, we can move directly out to the house. If not, we'll have to stay here for a week or two until we get on our feet. So anyway, here's where we are for the time being. It's great to be back, and thanks to Marianne and Shell for letting us stay here until we get sorted out. Okay, now it's time for breakfast.
Then it's time to drive out to the countryside where we are living to check on our house. We have rented it out for almost a year when we have been out traveling. So we just want to check out and see the status of it, and hopefully everything is okay.
We have just arrived at our house. So we've been staying at Shell and Marianne's apartment in town for the last 2-3 days, whatever it is, and now we are here ready to check out our apartment. So that's Marianne and Shell's place. Okay, we're a few meters down the hill, so here we go. Let's go and see what kind of state it's in. I mean, Marianne's already checked it when the leasee, or whatever you want to call it, tenant, has just gone. There's Helen coming out. So, here we go. It sort of feels a bit surreal to see it again, if I'm honest. Are du here, Shell? Yeah, hey. Allt väl? Okay. So there we go. And here is our house. Okay. Yep, everything looks fine. It looks exactly how we left it. So that's a big sigh of relief. We'll give it a more thorough inspection now. And I'm just walking onto the deck to see, or to remind myself of how our view is. And here we go. So for those people who were here last year at our wedding, yeah, a little reminder of the view from our deck. And there's our neighbours, and this is the deck. So very empty now. We just got back here, but give it a few days, we'll have our furniture out here and it'll be a little bit more back to normal. All right, let's head through here. Okay, we're walking round the small lake called Rockworm. Here we are at the other side, another side of Rockworm, and the local rowing team are out training. Not sure if you can make them out through the grass, but they're doing their early morning training in the early morning sun. Okay, when we get to the other side, I'll show you the views from the other side. So yeah, here they are, the local rowing club, canoeing club, or whatever you want to call it. Now this little area here is their little spot. And there's the stadium, the stand, so spectators can watch.
go out on the brygga.
And here we go. So they have it all set up for one of their training schedules. I'm sure they can do races and little training routines. There's a few of the early morning crew going out to do a morning session. But yeah, good start to the day, being surrounded by the green in full bloom. We're going to head towards the beach that you can see in the distance, and we'll show you the view from there. So here we are on the other side of where I just shown you, and there's a small beach here. And then there, a little handball type thing, a little play area for the kids, and that restaurant cum hotel there is known as Hassa Pokwa Kanten, and yeah, it's kind of a nice place to be on a summer's night like tonight. You know, often they have bands playing and some kind of entertainment, but yeah, you can just sit here, have a drink and enjoy the views. So we're going for a walk around the bigger lake, which is known as Munkwarn. Well, the medium lake, the middle-sized one in our town, Jönköping. So the one we went round yesterday was Rochwern, which is the smallest. It's about 3k to walk around it. The next biggest one, the medium-sized one, is what's known as Munkwarn, or called Munkwarn. So I'll just give you a quick scan around. We're on the far side of it now. That little area here that you can see is what's known as Munkwarn Staden, or Munkwarn Town. So it's a little sort of newly built up community with new apartments on the lake. Probably finished a couple of years ago. That bridge you can see in the distance, that had just been built around the time I got here, so probably close on 20 years ago now. And just behind that is the main bit of the town. If I turn to the right and you see the trees over there, behind them is basically where we're staying in Marianne and Shell's apartment. So this is a small lake. It's about 5k to run around it, which I've done too many times to count over the years. But yeah, we're going to continue walking and head into town to have a look around there. So we're approaching sort of the far end of Munkwarn if you walk around it from where we were. And the two buildings you can see, that's not quite completed yet, but it looks like that one is. And then a little bit closer to us, obscured by the trees, that's quite new as well. But I just want to show you this little one here. It's giving you an overview of the planned project to have the lake kind of renovated, so to speak.
Today is the end of the school year, and we are going to see my sister's son have his big party here with the school. So we are in a big park here in Jönköping called Stadsparken. And there's already so many people here. Wow.
It's a big thing in Swedish culture.
Yeah, it's a very big thing in Swedish culture. And this always happens on a Friday. Yeah. Anton is 12 years old now, but because it always happens on a weekday, I've never been able to join it before because I'm always working. So this is the first time that I can actually join and see my little Anton finish his school year. Ooh, so many people already. Alright, I'm gonna go up a little bit and see if I can. Okay, now it's time for Anton's class to sing.
För det är min egen mentorsklass och jag är otroligt stolt över det här gänget som kommer springa ut nu. För de har kämpat och de har krigat. Men nu är det så gänget, på måndag morgon, vad händer då? Ja, då ska det knegas. Ja, då ska det ut och, det är bara att ställa väckarklockan nu gänget. Hörni mina damer och herrar, det är en otroligt stor ära för mig att få presentera inga mindre än B.A.Hus 3B!
We are so incredibly proud of our beautiful daughter Signe, who is graduating high school today. Such a job well done. Now it's time for party for her. In Sweden, graduating from high school is one of the biggest milestones when you are a young person. As you can see here, so many family and friends have gathered to congratulate. So after they have run out of the school, it's tradition that everyone in the class go on a big truck and then they just drive around town, partying and having fun.
Connector Parken, which is a little park area right next to the lake, next to Rockburn. We are here at the bus stop. We're waiting for our bus going to Gränna. Now Gränna is a town, I don't know, on the bus it takes an hour, but it's probably 30 kilometers outside Jönköping, a nice little coastal town on the shores of the lake, and we're going to meet Kjell and Marianne, Anna's parents, and have some lunch and enjoy a Swedish midsummer. So midsummer is a big thing in Sweden,
Yeah.
so we're on our way. It's more of a fun place to be for midsummer, I suppose. Okay, bus is coming, we'll be on it soon. The Swedish way of waiting for a bus, minimum 5 meters apart. And these are post-COVID times, yeah. It was probably even less during COVID.
So just like Kelvin said, Midsummer Eve in Sweden is probably one of our absolute most famous and popular holidays that we're celebrating here. And usually it is celebrated by getting together with family and friends. Weather can always be a little bit so-and-so during midsummer, so you never know. But as you can see here, today we are lucky. But yeah, usually you are gathering with family and friends. Someone has usually risen a maypole. You dance around the maypole together, singing songs such as Små grodorna, for example. After that, you're eating most of the day. Usually new potatoes or fresh potatoes with herring. There's usually strawberries in the night. And there's usually always drinking schnapps and singing schnapsvisor, some songs together with the schnapps or the shots. So yeah, I mean, many people are celebrating it differently now. You don't have to do it this way, but this is the traditional, original way, I guess. And many people are still celebrating it in just this traditional way. We did not celebrate in the traditional way, but we still had a lovely, lovely day out with mom and dad in Gränna. So Gränna is a nice little harbor town, just about a 15-20 minute drive from where we're living in the countryside, or about, probably 30 to 40 minutes from the town. So here is the little the beach, the very, very mini beach in Gränna. But beautiful spent Midsummer's Eve with mom and dad in Gränna this year.
Here we are, buying our car from probably the best, or certainly my favourite dealership in the whole of Jönköping. Harbiel. Owned by Klaus Havskog. So we're back in our house, all spick and span. We just brought a load of boxes down from storage, and we're basically going through them and seeing what we need and what we don't need and blah blah blah. So yep, okay, big long day, but now we have our new car. Yeah, it just makes life so much easier managing to pick things up and run around. So hopefully now we've got the car, we'll have everything done in a day or two.
What a whirlwind of the first couple of weeks being back in Sweden again. So many joyful and happy emotions with the family reunions, of course, but also lots of practical things to think about, such as getting new Swedish phone numbers again, getting a new car, etc. Yeah, there is a lot to think about when you have been out traveling the world for a year and then coming back home again. This pretty much now wraps up our whole 1 year around the world trip. We really hope that you have enjoyed following us around the world. We are still going to try and release videos on this channel, of course, even if we're back home now. It will probably mostly be from Sweden in the beginning, but we're also hoping to do some trips around Europe in the near future. So do stay tuned for new videos.